Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. I watched the computer screens and or the monitors, and everything's all over the place. All right, well, this is going to be sort of a shorter type of live because I'm going to go on Court TV again at 6:30. Make sure to send all the trolls over. Then I'll be coming back on after that to do more show over here. Okay, so it's a long night, but I do want to say thank you to all the people who were here last night. I don't know why I can't see the dogs right now, but thanks everybody that was here last night. This last month, this channel was able to, I donated from the income from the channel because of ad revenue and the generosity of all the freaks supporting the channel. That's what we call ourselves. We gave away $4,835. $1,835 went to the Libyan Abbey Ballpark. And then 500 went to Texas Equisearch, 500 went to NCMEC, and then another 2,000 went to our DNA fund where we used to identify Jane and John Does. And today is the start of the next month. So if you're out there and you want to help support the channel, that allows us to keep doing those kind of things, that would be great. And currently we're at $220,500 given away out of the income from the channel over the last not even 5 years yet. So that's pretty sweet, And thanks everybody who showed up last night and helped do that last push for the month and made it even more successful. Was able to send an extra 500 in, so that was good. I don't know why you've ever been watching that. Great day. See, currently there's lawyers covering the case that don't know the case. Even Bob Motta doesn't know the case very well. Isn't that weird? I mean, he's like the least bad of the bad ones. But Laura Lee, she's just a poser out there. Oh, wow, look at me, pointing at the wrong spot on the bridge to where the crime scene was. Doesn't know the case at all. Doesn't realize when she's being given a load of crap. Burkhart, same thing. She's out there. I'm just saying it's absolutely embarrassing, and they're part of the reason why, like on Court TV, they have a 60-40 votes that he's innocent. Okay, because idiots listen to these people. Yeah. Right. The case is really simple, everybody. If you watch the video I just put out about 4 or 5 hours ago, it's simple. It's a simple case. But it's made complex by a bunch of crazy people. There's people out there currently accusing Kelsey of being the real killer man. And, they even posted 2 super chats on Lauren's last show were trolls that were willing to spend money to troll. One of them said, God, even if Richard Allen is guilty, or even if Richard Allen's found guilty, he should sue the judge or something, or the state. And another one went through this whole litany of shit about Kelsey. And let me just tell you something. If you believe Kelsey has something to do with this, you need to check yourself into a mental institution immediately. That means you are absolutely unhinged. Something is psychologically wrong with you. And I don't care if I'm offending you right now. And if you sent me a super chat saying something like that, I would immediately ban you, and I would gladly just take the money and throw it in there, and it'll be part of the donation next month somewhere else. Okay? But you won't be lasting around here. Okay? I'm not going to try to talk it out with you or try to work it out. You are a disgusting person. All right? That's all there is to it. I know Kelsey. I'm friends with her. And I just know, I know all of them. They're good people. All right? This is sick. What you guys, and I want all of you guys should be returning fire on these people metaphorically with your words. Like you need to be saying, whenever you see it, combat it, because it is absolutely sick. All right? Man, I don't even get it, man. I don't know how anybody can maintain. I can't maintain sort of like, well, and try to have a rational conversation with these people. It's not possible. Jesus, it's just fucking. I want to just start cussing, Well, thanks, Huan. Keep doing you. Still one of my faves. Well, I'd hope so. I'd hope so. I'm better now than I was back then. Let's see. Right. You just. I don't know. I think people need to put more pressure on. This isn't a case where you really. At this point, it's hard to be neutral because the evidence is so obvious. But the conspiracy nutters twist it around into something else. And it's just hard to do it. I don't know how anybody does it, man. I can't be neutral, like, in terms of... Like, if a piece of evidence comes out, I'll say, yeah, wow, that's crazy. But, until that happens, I'm sitting here and the evidence is clear. And Richard Allen, he's wanted to confess for a long time. He almost begged them to let him confess over and over again. He confessed on the phone, and they just wouldn't take it, man. And I think the attorneys actually told Kathy to get him to stop, man, and sort of work with her so they wouldn't be implicated. Because they're the ones that had her get him to sort of change, because they're like, man, I think we can get you off. Yeah, look at this, we can get you off, man. We can let a child killer go. I guarantee you that Rosie and Baldwin know that their client killed Abby and Libby. And those idiot attorneys that came out and said, oh, I've never had a case. This one, I believe he's factually innocent. Really? With the stuff that we've heard right now, how in the hell were you ever saying that? Okay? Gray, I came here to listen. Okay, I just need to say this, I keep making these videos to try to show people what the reality is. People watch it. I was trying to get Lauren to mention the one I just put out today. She mentioned that one that we did a week ago. The one today is really the one that, I actually just sent her. I said, hey, check this video out. And she says, oh, I'll post it or something. I didn't see it posted, but she mentioned something, but it was the other video from like a week ago. It's the one today that I want people to see the, just the timing. It's just, you see it right there on the map. It's simple. I have an animation where things are moving around and it's, yeah. I don't know. I'm really frustrated. You probably can tell. Anyways, today's, let me go to that. Which one is it? Is it this one? Oh, yeah. All right, we want to turn now to day 13. This is that crazy site that every 5 minutes or something, the video starts playing again. So this is WTHR. We'll have to run up really fast and turn it off. So let's just do today. Oh, see, it's already playing. How do I do it?
Today marks the 4th day of the trial for the man who's accused of murdering Abby Williams and Libby.
Ah, hell, I couldn't even find it right there. It's right here, right? All right, how do I keep you from playing? I don't want you to play. It's just... Oh my God, these
All right, we want to turn now to day 30.
Wait, I know I can do. How about I just turn off the volume? There, hey, genius. Hey, thanks for Rebecca Hayes. His attorneys are the ones who are actually violating his rights. They're not working. Yeah, that's why Judge Gold wanted to remove them. She knew what the situation was. Cheryl Bullock said it's ridiculous that Kelsey is targeted. Yeah, and by the way, Kelsey is spelled Kelsi, like that. But yeah, it is ridiculous. And there's a host of these YouTube channels that are disgusting people. And they just keep covering the same thing over and over, going after the family, Kelsey. They're all part of this big cabal. And it doesn't even make sense. When you listen to them, you almost pass out because you're just wondering how there's so many just brain dead people that when they watch that believe it. That's what's scary, you guys. Just think about it for a minute. How do you get a fair trial anywhere? Look at if it's 60-40 in the voting, you don't think one of them's on that jury? You know, somebody has that same stupid mentality. Wow. I came here to chew. I came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. All right, let's see. What movie was that from, you guys? Come on, you can do it. I came here to bitch about these morons that believe the defense is believe the defense. I know. Well, the thing is I'm more angry at the Odinist thing. I guess apparently got thrown out. By the way, guys, they can't do the Odin theory or anything. So that's great. So now they're going to have to try to pin it on Brad Weber because his bullet wasn't excluded and his car drove by. So they're going to somehow say the girls jumped off the bridge. I mean, Libby was a swimmer, did a swan dive, dove into the van, holding Abby underneath her, and they dove into the van and then it drove by. I mean, it was just an amazing moment there. Wish it could. These guys are fools, all right? Absolute fools. They didn't go anywhere, okay? This is just wild, man. Are you listening to this stuff? Do you guys go listen to it's just, and like some of these people get 50,000 views when they're attacking Kelsey. They should be put in prison. I hope that they get civil lawsuits filed against all of these people, and they are going to be, when this is all said and done, those people are going to be held accountable. In this case, this is a case where there's never even been an implication at all that the kids, the Kelsey or the family had anything to do with anything. They haven't been talked about that. It's just them out there maliciously attacking the family. Now, I mean, here's the thing. Lauren doesn't know the family. She hasn't met them or anything. So she's kind of coming into this kind of cold and everything. I know all the stuff. I know all the family. I mean, I met them. I've had dinner with Becky. Just her, me, my wife, and one other person. We're just out there. I know them. I took Kelsey and her husband to lunch, and then she took me out to the bridge, and we walked around, and so I know these people. So for me, it makes me angry, and I know the case. I've been covering it since the very beginning, the very first night they were missing. I was in a Facebook group, and we're like, oh wow, we're watching the newscast and everything. Then the next day they're found, and then it's just gone on since then for 7.5 years. And what's weird is, let me type in, where's this guy's name? I think he's the first witness today. Yeah, or one of them. Let's see. Well, he was at 132. Defense 6th witness was Brad Heath. He lives near Delphi. You want to do that one first? He said, I actually interviewed that guy. Listen to this. I have him right here. I interviewed him in 2021.
To tell you,
okay, watch.
What I saw was the vehicle that they haven't identified parked along the road, and I drove.
Yeah, so he thinks he saw the vehicle. So after the 2019 press conference, looking for the vehicle, who the driver of the vehicle that was parked at the abandoned CPS building, he thought he saw that vehicle. However, during our conversation, it turns out the vehicle that he saw was actually on 300 on the road, not backed in at the abandoned CPS building. You know what's interesting about the vehicle he saw? It kind of matches what Betsy Blair said she saw. I mean, it's weird. It actually sounds like the same car that Betsy Blair's describing. So let me show you. If you go down here like this, and right there, he said the car was like parked right in this area, right there. Okay, the CPS building. That's kind of an interesting photo. I hadn't seen that one, but you can see the outline of the building right there where it used to be. What year is that? Huh. Wow, that's crazy. That's actually November of this year, and that's just there must be cement under there, so it doesn't grow back in. Interesting. Yeah, so that's what it looked like. That's July 2018. It was still there, and that's April 2017. All right. But I actually do think that Lauren, she's coming around. I think she's seeing what's all these. There are people out there, you guys. It is insanity on this case. This one is very similar in a way to the Idaho 4. But anyways, Brad Heath said that there was somebody right there. Now let's see what I think that's what he said. But let's listen to this, and then we'll read what he wrote. Okay.
Drove by that morning at 8:45. It was there, and I went to another town, did some work, and come back. And then that afternoon, I was retired from it now, but I was in pest control. I was scanning bait stations at the building right across the road from there. And at 2:07, round right in there, that vehicle was still there. And I thought, that's kind of odd. I never seen it there before or after. And I thought, wonder why they parked so far away from going in, if they were messing around the Freedom Bridge or the trails or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I described it, sent pictures of close to what it is. It was an older model car, and I don't know why the police said a couple years later they wanted to know that they let it out that there was a vehicle parked over in that area between noon and 5. Well, it was there at 9:15 in the morning. And I believe it was an older vehicle.
This statement right here is true. Even if he's found not guilty, yes, if he's found not guilty, that means there'll never be an arrest made in this case because Richard Allen is the killer. There will not be any more investigation. It means that because of the trickery that the defense team deployed by putting out the Odin document, changing the mentality of people on social media who are all too willing to believe in conspiracy, nut job theories, it changed their minds, and then they started seeing things. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. And it got onto the jury, and that's what happened, okay? Richard Allen is the killer in this case, and if he's found not guilty, he'll still always be the killer. And I bet you one day he'll confess to somebody. I guarantee it.
Something like you'd see the guy catfishing on the river on Saturday morning. So I believe that must have been in there early. And he didn't go past any cameras. He's turned around, and I had a friend thought that worked at the one Cobb mill, thought he saw it on the Interside Bridge maybe around 3:30, 4 o'clock, like he might have been watching or something. I don't know. But
when you say the other side of the bridge, do you mean like the what was he talking about?
On
the other side of the Freedom Bridge over there?
You'd see the guy catfishing on the river on Saturday morning. So
I couldn't believe he said catfishing on the river. I was like, oh my God, everybody's going to think he's talking about catfishing like the Predator catfishing. I mean, it was amazing.
I believe that must have been in there early. And he didn't go past any cameras. He's turned around, and I had a friend thought that worked at the one Cobb mill, thought he saw it on the Interside Bridge maybe around 3:30, 4 o'clock, like he might have been watching or something. I don't know. But
when you say the other side of the bridge, do you mean like the like on the other side of the Freedom Bridge over there?
Yeah. It may have been parked over there after I come through there, and but 1 year before in February at that Freedom Bridge, I got two other guys. We pray where the Lord tells us to go, and was praying for revival.
Yeah, he's a really religious guy.
And we just got up on that bridge, and I carried my shofar with me, and around that monument area, hadn't been there very long. One friend fell to the ground, started shaking, and the Lord told him, said.
Yeah, when he started talking about this, I was like, oh God, this is one of those guys. I mean, he was. There's a video. He's playing like a shofar really loud, and now he's talking about his friend was like wiggling around on the ground, you know, writhing.
There's been satanic rituals take place right here.
Okay, here we go.
This was 1 year before in
There
February,
we
exact
go.
month. It was about the middle of the month too. And we prayed for about 45 minutes. And then I said, look guys, all of a sudden the American flag was there. There was no wind. All of a sudden it started going out under the power of God. We started worshiping the Lord, and it totally stretched out for about 10, 12 minutes. I mean, it was the most awesome thing I ever seen. And we started to walk off when he felt a release, and then the flag went instantly down.
Wow.
And then a year later in the same place, I mean, and the Lord showed me and my other two guys a number of things about this.
This was the guy that was on trial today.
I mean, in years past, I've got addresses and exact address of somebody I need to go see, but he never give me that on this guy. But the one video you probably saw me in, we weren't supposed to be in there at that time. One guy got off early from work, and he said, well, let's go at 2 o'clock. And the Lord told him, don't be late, don't be late, don't be late. Get into my house. Said that 3 times. So we drive over there. I only live a couple miles from the bridge, the Freedom Bridge, and just as soon as I got on the bridge, I turned around.
Oh, God.
13 van pulls
All
out,
right,
and
we're
here
gonna
steps
turn now
out
to
David
day 13
McAnally
in
and
the Delphi
a
murder
camera
trial.
guy. And I told him a bunch of stuff, and I mean, that was divine appointment. And one of the strangest things, about 4 or 5 months later, we were praying, we were walking down a trail in the evening, a Thursday evening, and the Lord told my other friend, said, you're going to meet a guy on the trail tonight. Boy, we did. He's about 6'3", 6'4", dressed in a suit and tie, had bright blue tennis shoes on, and looked like a Middle Eastern descent. And he kind of mumbled something, walked past us, and then my one buddy said he wasn't friendly at all. See a guy like that on a
Yes, everybody, this is one of the defense witnesses.
trail at that time, and it's the strangest looking thing I ever seen. And then the Lord told my buddy, go back and stand at this fence where they really weren't supposed to go on down at that time. He stood back there, and we were about 75 yards from him, and all of a sudden,
Hey guys, don't forget to help support this channel. We're on a new month now. We got to get moving here. We're just dead as a doornail.
this guy goes flying around us and then starts walking down the road real fast back toward that cemetery. And he said the guy was going to cut through, but when he saw him stand there, he kind of shook his head and went on around. So I reported that the next day, and it really sounded strange. They must have thought I was
Yeah.
Now, I'm friends with Steve Mullins. He used to go to my church, so he understands this stuff. And I talked to somebody else, but he said, well, your credibility went up about 1,000%. He said the next day, this guy come in to give a tip. He said, I might have looked a little suspicious last night, but a little,
Let me move it forward here.
just about.
Surveillance cameras, and the one that you mentioned a second ago, he's okay. Go ahead. I think that was you were about to
So,
answer.
but he turned around, or he would have got caught on there's cameras at that one business a friend of mine got, farm store or something.
Oh wow.
So he's turned
So the Hoosier Harvest Store, that is what he's talking about.
around. He never went on down the road and out that way. He turned around, avoided the camera.
You know, there's a camera right on that building. I don't know if it was there at the time.
Oh,
Well, he drove but by you it
uh,
on the way in. He didn't know that.
Building
Across the street from the CPS building.
Yeah, that's where I was working.
Oh, I have a friend that went out there in Cairo. I had him look for surveillance cameras, and the one that you mentioned a second ago, he found. It's right on the straightaway, and then he found the one. Then he found the one on that building right there where you were working. It's just.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that one is. Maybe it's not motion. If it's motion activated, it probably didn't pick him up because it was like 300 feet away. This is 2021. This interview with this. This is Brad Heath.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I mean, he just goes on and on. Basically, what he said was there was a car parked right there that he saw. Okay, it's not the one that people saw backed in over at the abandoned CPS building.
All right, we want to turn now to day.
Let's see what he said in here. Ah, jeez, what the hell? Well, that public service announcement didn't work. So if you're out there, everybody, and you have the ability to help support the channel, this channel relies on your generosity to keep doing the shows every single day, and it also helps do what we did last night, as we gave away $4,835 last month. So thank you. All right, defense 6 witness Brad Heath lives near Delphi. So here we go. This is the guy today. Hey, thanks Brandon Collins and Nub Fisher. When Carter changed the direction, Alan must have been excited. Libby's phone made Alan come forth and be the best witness. Right. Right. That's what I was saying in my video today. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time, you guys. So what happened was Richard Allen killed Abby and Libby on the 13th. On the 14th, the bodies were found. The police quickly, on the 15th, put out the image of the suspect in Libby's video. That's how quickly they got access to that phone and were able to extract the video from it and then get a still frame from the video on the 15th. And then in the 15th articles, it said, we'd like to talk to this person and have him tell us what he saw. So Richard Allen, being the great citizen that he is, calls the very next day to tell him what he saw. He calls and he gets a hold of him and says, yeah, I was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. I think he said 1 to 3. And then he went, oh, wait a minute, 1:30 to 3:30. That's what he said with Dan Doolin. So that's what he said in the tip. He called in, and then 2 days later, Dan Doolin was sent out to speak to him about, his calling the tip line. And Dan Doolin got the fact that he was there from 1:30 to 3:30. He's the one that fixed the name from Rich Allen Whiteman to Richard Allen living on Whiteman. Okay. And so Richard Allen got a hold of the tip line, not because he's a good person. It's because when he saw his own picture in the newspaper, he wanted to get ahead of it because he knew the shit was about to hit the fan. So he thought he'd come in and act like he was this helpful person. That's exactly what he was doing. And he called the tip line, and he could not believe that nobody followed up on that. And for 5 years, he was living on borrowed time, a monster living among people. Hey, thanks, Shay. All right, this is what it says about Brad Heath right here. 1:32 p.m., State Attorney Stacey Diener performed the cross-examination. Diener asked Heath if a picture she provided roughly matched the car he thought he saw. Heath said yes. Oh, okay. No, that's Diener's. That's the defense. Diener asked if the car was parked in the CPS lot. He said no. See, there you go. At 1:12 p.m., the sixth witness for the defense is Brad Heath, a retired exterminator living outside Delphi. Heath said he was working as an exterminator at Anderson's Mill near the Monon High Bridge. Let's see. Hold on. I bet you that's Anderson's Mill right there. Does it say that? Anderson's Mill? No, it doesn't say that. If I put places, turn that on, is that gonna... No, it doesn't say anything. So anyway, this is where he said to me he was working over here. Let's see. He said he was working as an exterminator at Anderson's Mill near the Monon High Bridge on February 13, 2017. He said he was at the building from 1:43 p.m. to 2:06, which is, it's an interesting time frame. At that time, none of the vehicles would be moving around, that are part of this case. Well, actually, some would be. We have the 146 and 149 by Betsy Blair and Kelsey. So I guess those are in there. And then that's it. The defense provided his time log for the day as evidence. He said he got his activity log because of a vehicle he saw that day. He said he saw it at 8:45 a.m. That's exactly what he said on my interview. When he left his car parked at the old CPS building. I actually made a video about this, years ago. It's like, was there another car parked there? He said the vehicle was halfway down the road and parked along the side. See? Heath estimated it was 150 yards from him. Heath described the vehicle as an older vehicle that looked out of place. Isn't that exactly what people say that Betsy Blair said? That there was this old... I wonder if she's conflating that. Like, she remembers seeing the old vehicle, and then she sees a car backed in, and then her mind goes, yeah, it was the old vehicle back, something like that. Because this guy saw that on the side of the road. He said the vehicle was halfway down the road and parked along the side. Heath estimated 150 yards from him. Heath described the vehicle as an older vehicle that looked out of place. He estimated it was 1980s or early 1990s. That doesn't sound too old, 80s or 90s. A week after the murders, Heath went to tell police what he saw. Heath said he had seen a car like the one he had seen in a movie. You know, he didn't say much there, but he's just saying he saw a different vehicle. So what the defense is trying to do is like, hey, you know, there's other options for you, jury. You know, there's this other car. How do we know that wasn't the person? I mean, we know Rick Allen's car drove by. I mean, it's the only 2016 Ford Focus in the area. But yeah, we know that was him. But, you know, it's got to be somebody else. Yeah, but Richard Allen saw 3 girls when he came in, and they saw him, and he saw them. All right, but I mean, those are 3 different. He said he got there at noon, and he left at 1:30. So he saw a different set of 3 girls at the exact same location when he came in. So that's what they want you to believe, you guys. So Rick, God, I don't even know what to call him, man. Richard Allen, right here. He said when he got to the Freedom Bridge, and just as he was going onto the trail, he passed 3 girls. That's exactly what these girls told everybody, investigators, that right there. So are we to believe that when he got there at 12 and left at 1:30, that he did exactly the same thing? Is that what we're to believe? Seriously. Like there was another set of 3 girls in the exact same spot. That's insane, you guys. Pure insanity. I didn't even realize I had that open. Ah, there you go. That's what a troll was just. Ooh, 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 ooh. Call Gray's phone. Gray. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Call Gray's phone. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Psychos.
All right, we want to turn now to day 13 in the Delphi murder trial.
All right, let's try to do like from the bottom here. And I'll have to, see, it's hard, man. Because you have to keep playing this stupid video.
More than 7 years after Abby Williams and Libby German
Like,
were
where is
killed,
that
the
playing
trial
at?
for the man accused of murdering them enters its 3rd day.
Maybe I don't even know how to do it on there. I just want to read this shit without listening to the video.
All right, we want to turn now to day 13.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. A second.
Abby and Libby's families have been subjected to heartbreaking.
Hey, thank you, Heather L. What is this? Oh, that was a document. Okay. Affiliate background, daiquiri. Oh, that was for the what's his name? Box Elder, that case. Hold on, let me put this in here. Okay, I just put it into here. Now we can just read it. All right. Does it start up here, like a day, the sessions? You know what, I'm going to go with this other outlet here. You don't have to deal with that crap. Here it is, the Which TV blog. It's better. I mean, it's not better, but it's just about the same thing. Hey, thank you, Heather L. And I have the notes from this morning, too. So maybe later tonight we'll go over that. Pink Diamond and White Bird. Best channel on YouTube, Justice for Abby and Libby. Reading fee. All right. Wow, I'd be rich if that was a thing. All right, here we go. 9:01 a.m. The jury entered the courtroom and court is back in session. Judge Gold tells defense attorney Brad Rosie that they will chat about his motion he filed on transports during the lunch break. Gold says the jury has once again had supervised contact with electronic devices. The defense calls Christopher Guti, and the state immediately calls for a sidebar. The sidebar lasts 9 minutes Guti tells the jury he is a Hammond, Indiana police officer and has background as an EMT. He says he has training interviewing witnesses and suspects. And I'm just reading this because when we hit something that's important, I know how to put it into context. I mean, it's the same notes that everybody has, the same thing. Defense attorney Jennifer Auger asks him about the importance of correctly documenting interviews. Guti says he was with an FBI Gang Response Task Force, or GRIT. They focus on kidnappings. Guti tells the jury that Grit assisted with the Delphi investigation by canvassing neighborhoods and conducting interviews. He says he worked on the investigation for over a week. Guti says he spoke to Brad Weber during the investigation. Auger asked Guti what Weber said about where he went after work on February 13, 2017. Auger asked Guti what an FBI 302 is. Guti says it's a report from an interview. Auger shows him an exhibit, which is an FBI 302 report from his interview with Weber. So that's Weber, Brad Weber, the individual who got off work at 2:02, 20 to 25 minute drive home, drove down the private drive probably around 2:25, and made his way back to his mom's house, Kay Weber. And that's the van, apparently. I mean, a white van, whatever color the van is. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's the only van on the road there. Okay, so Richard Allen apparently didn't describe the color of the van, I guess, but I've always heard white van, so I don't know. So he, he drove by, and then Richard Allen sees the car drive by, and then he takes the girls across the creek, and then continues to do whatever he was going to do. And then eventually, I think he got scared off a second time by people on the bridge. That's what the prosecution's theory should be, is that he went there, across there, and he continued to do what he was going to do. He felt safer on the other side of the creek at that point because the white van drove by. He continued to do whatever he was going to do. He had the girls undressed, do various things, whatever he was doing. And then he started, after he killed the girls, around 3:30, he started covering their bodies with sticks. And then there was people on the bridge that were talking really loudly because the wind was blowing in the direction of where he was. He could hear them, and he got nervous, and he just took off before completing covering their bodies. That makes sense, and it's way more reasonable than a pack of wild Odinists were at the crime scene dancing around in a circle, or whatever the hell they're trying to claim, okay? Doesn't it? What I just said there? I mean, the wind, I actually went out and found the wind direction. It blows right from the bridge to the crime scene. At 9:27 a.m., the defense calls Dr. Deanne. Okay, I guess that's another one. Deanne Dwenger. Dwenger tells the jury that she oversees the Department of Behavioral Health at the Indiana Department of Corrections. What did he say about Brad Weber during the investigation? Auger asked Guti what Weber said about where he went after work on February 13th. Auger asked Guti, so, I mean, why don't you put what he said there? I mean, what a ridiculous... Jesus, let me see, hold on, let me see what we got here in these notes. February 19th report. Let me go over here. Overseas contact employees such as Richard Allen not heed a mental health. This is today, so that's witness 4. Yeah, it's Dr. Deanne Dwenger. Okay. Isn't that... No, that's... Well, you need the one before that. Alright, let's see. These are the actual pool notes, by the way, right here. Was an FBI special agent interviewed Brad Weber, judge to jury. This is not substantive evidence. They didn't spell it right. Substantive. Weber told CG he went home after work. FBI 302 report detailed CG interview with Weber. Okay, and then 302 report about CG interview. McClellan, did you write a report? No. Agent Pohl did. February 19th report. What did Weber tell you? He said, I can't remember, despite seeing the report. That was it? That's all you got from that guy? Dun 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 dun! Hey everybody! What was the real information about Brad Weber? I don't remember what he said back then. That was 5 years ago. Wow, that went down like a lead balloon right there, didn't it? Maybe there'll be somebody else. Let's see. Godey says he spoke with Weber on February 19th, 2017. He tells the jury, that's one day after Richard Allen was interviewed by Dan Doolin. He doesn't know what Weber said despite looking at his own report. Auger finishes her questions. The state does not cross-examine. At 9:27 a.m., the defense calls Dr. Deanne Dwenger. Dwenger tells the jury that she oversees the Department of Behavioral Health at the Indiana Department of Corrections. She says she has been director of the department since 2021. Dwenger says that her main job is to oversee the IDOC's, Department of Corrections, contact with the contractor who actually does the employing for the Indiana Department of Corrections behavioral staff. Dwenger tells the jury that she generally knows who Richard Allen is. She confirms that Allen was transferred out of the Westville Correctional Facility. She says that solitary units at Westville and the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility are similar. She says she has not personally met Allen and did not make the decision to move him and does not know who did. Dwenger says that Dr. Monica Walla, the assigned psychologist for Allen, told her that she was assigned to Allen, that she had a special interest. Dwenger tells the jury that Walla told her about listening to Delphi podcasts, I'm one of them, and recommended it to her in early 2023. And she listened to everybody, like it. I don't think it makes any difference at all, Like she's listening to Defense Diaries, she listened to me, she listened to, even some of these newbies that don't know what the hell they're talking about, and she just listened to everybody. I mean, so what? Dwenger says she knew that Walla had visited the Monon High Bridge even. So she came out to the Monon High Bridge. So it says Dwenger tells the jury that Walla told her about listening to the Delphi podcast and recommended it to her in early 2023. Reporter note, Allen went to Westville at the end of 2022. Dwenger says she knew that Walla had visited the Monon High Bridge, but says it was before being assigned to Allen. Dwenger tells the jury she thought it was unusual to visit the crime scene of someone you work with, but said that Walla talked to her direct supervisor about the issue more. I don't know if that's the crime scene. The crime scene would be if you went through the woods all the way down to the crime scene. The bridge is a bridge. I mean, people walk across a bridge. There is part of the crime at the very end of the bridge, you could say, when they were abducted, but the front part of the bridge, it's like, is it a crime scene if there was a death on a street, and then you're 8 blocks down on the same street? I don't think so. You're not at the crime scene. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm cutting out. I think it's on your end. I would have warnings and stuff like that. So if it's not cutting out for some people, then it's not on my end, right? Because you can't, that would be ghost level stuff. It's cutting out here, but you got to hear it anyways, okay? Right, that means there's something going on your end. Dwenger tells the jury she is familiar with Dr. Martin and that he is a psychiatrist and administers medication. She says Dr. Martin is no longer working at IDOC. So there was a sidebar questioning the word crime scene. Hey, thank you so much. BB Sure. And then Dwenger tells the jury she is familiar with Dr. Martin and that he is a psychiatrist and he administers medication. She says Allen was assessed in Indianapolis and was assigned a D code in mental health. She explains that a D code means a person that would benefit from a specific and personal therapy treatment plan. Dwenger tells the jury she doesn't know if there's been safekeeping in either Westville or Wabash Valley. She says she doesn't know why he was assigned there. She says she knew there was video cameras in her cell and that worried her. Why? She said she recommended the video be removed, but it didn't happen. Hey, thanks, Karen. Dwenger tells the jury that solitary confinement can impact mental health, and that is not unreasonable to think being in solitary would have negative impact over time. Yeah, I'm sure it would. She says 30 or more days of solitary happens only if the inmate is severely mentally ill. She tells the jury, well, why would you put somebody who's severely mentally ill in solitary for more than 30 days if you're saying that over 30 days of solitary confinement causes severe mental, it's like, that's stupid. Let's make them worse by putting them into solitary confinement, everybody. On video show that she heard years ago about the van. It was discussed in the community, and Richard Allen could have... that's not true. That's not true. Yeah. I heard about the van being part of a confession that he gave a few months back. That's it. The van wasn't part of... There was these jokes about a van being underneath the bridge. This idiot named, I think it was called the Minivan Traveler. He used to tell people you could see this brown van right underneath the bridge. But amazingly, it was sideways on its side because he drew an outline of it. And there wasn't a van there, okay? There just isn't. There's no way to get a van down there. And so he would say that, so people always talked about that. So she's not accurately portraying the van thing, unfortunately. I mean, I actually can't even believe she said that, okay? Because the van she's talking about was this stupid theory that this guy, oh, look, there's a van he drew. Like, it was just pareidolia. That means you see pictures, you see a face in inanimate objects, something like that. Like, for example, you could take a bowl of popcorn like this. I made a video on this in one of those, my long documentary. I put out every video that I ever made in a long series. But like, you could load this thing up right here and look at that. Zoom in. Look at that. There's an eyeball right there, and outside of it, there's two ears. There's an ear there and an ear there. I mean, there's faces all over this bowl of popcorn here. I don't know if you can see them. I see three Odinists standing in a circle, and in the middle, they're praying over a pile of sticks. All right, there you go. Nailed it. All right, you got it? Okay. Yeah, so somebody let Barbara McDonald know that that's not the van that people were talking about. They were saying that there was a van in the picture of Abby down by the river. And then they said that there was people trying to climb up the bridge. And they said, I mean, the stuff that people claimed over the years, it's almost mind-boggling. And so she's referring to that in her mind. It's not Brad Weber. Okay. That's unfortunate, though. It's unfortunate that there was even ever somebody mentioning a van. Because Minivan Traveler used to always talk about this brown van over at the meat packing facility, and he was always just so on to something, man. And then he forced the van to be in an image where it's not. There isn't a van there. And then that just became part of the lore of the case, where everybody would just sort of make fun of him because it wasn't there. You could see it, but unfortunately, she must have heard about that van and said, "Oh yeah, the van. Yeah, there's been a van." That's not. Nobody's talking about the van of Brad Weber. that's not been something anybody's ever talked about. I'm dialed into the whole case, everything everybody's talking about. I hear all the shit. People send me the links, and that's never been something. I'm going to be on Court TV tonight. I wonder if that'll be the topic. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Dwenger confirmed she was on a team that discussed Alan's care, though was not directly treating him. She described herself as a sounding board for those who were. The state requests another sidebar after Rosie asked Dwenger about solitary confinement for mental ill patients. At 9:56, Rosie ends his questioning, and prosecution attorney Stacy Diener begins her cross-examination of Dwenger. Dwenger confirmed Alan was not severely mentally ill and began to decompensate until he was in the Westville Correctional Unit. She says he was first contacted about Alan in April of 2023. She says that's when his core team was formed. The first contact she describes was coming from Dr. Walla asking if Alan could have a meeting with his wife. Dwenger tells the jury that at that point Walla told her that Alan was faking it. See, look at that. Dwenger tells the jury the team was called an MDT, a multiple disciplinary team. She explains that gravely ill means you aren't able to take care of yourself. She says it's got to the point where it didn't matter if he was faking it or not. They needed to intervene. Dwenger explains Haldol shots to the jury. She says it helps with psychosis symptoms and being gravely ill. And apparently, according to Brad Rosie, it changes your voice so that you sound exactly like the bridge guy. It's amazing. It's almost as if the bridge guy himself took Haldol. So, because he sounded like somebody else too. So how do we know that this is the kind of logic these people use? Let's see. So Richard Allen doesn't sound the way he sounds, except when he's on Haldol. His voice ends up sounding like the bridge guy, although his voice sounded like bridge guy in the interrogations before he ever had Haldol. But how do we know that the bridge guy didn't sound different and was just on Haldol himself, making him sound like that? But wouldn't his natural voice then sound just like Richard Allen's natural? Oh yeah. That's the kind of logic these guys. Yeah, they kind of work through it, but they'll find a way to have it work in at the end. Let's see. At 10:04, Diener ended her cross-examination. Rosie begins his redirect. Diener asks for a sidebar. Reporter notes judge looks frustrated. See? So Diener asks for a sidebar. Reporter notes that judge looks frustrated. State objects again after Rosie asks another question. Both end and the jury asks questions. I wonder what she's frustrated about, because she sees the trickery, but she can't not let him get away with it. Does the DOC ever place safekeepers in general population? Dwenger says yes. Question 2, could it be possible Alan was faking so he would not be moved to general population? Dwenger says it was possible, but don't know for Alan. Question 3, these are jury questions. Did you hear threats to Alan from other inmates? Yourself? Dwenger says no. Question 4, could a person slip in truth of a confession even when faking it? Could a person slip in truth of a confession even when faking it? I'm not sure what that means. Dwenger says it's hard to tell, but yes. She says you can tell if people are faking it based on the organization of thoughts. If the conversation is, I'm not sure what kind of a question is that. It's kind of a dumb question. She says Alan was not having delirium. Number 5, what is the typical process for safekeepers with severe mental illness? Dwenger says the same as general. Number 6, what is the primary obligation to safekeeper working with an inmate with a severe mental illness? Dwenger says same as general. So you kind of wonder what the jury's thinking in some of these. So the first one is, does the Department of Corrections ever place safekeepers in general population? She said yes. Now, the other one was, could it be possible Allen was faking so he would not be moved to general population? So that's somebody that's probably on the prosecution side there. Dwenger says it was possible but did not know for Allen. Number 3, did you hear threats to Allen? No. And the other one was, could a person slip in truth of a confession even when faking it? Well, if you're faking it, what does that mean? I mean, you're faking your delirium, but you tell the truth. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you, so why couldn't you do that? I think they're also on the prosecution side now that I think about it. Right. Right, going up here, court back in session. There's immediate sidebar. Then, I mean, I guess there was just a ton of sidebars again. Yeah. All right, I'll try to check that out later. Else they don't know what was said. Hold on, I gotta check. I might have to end this in like 15 minutes. We'll come back on later. Right, so now it's Vinny's poll with 3,000 votes is 59 not guilty percent and 41 guilty. That means we have almost 2,000 stupid people, at least, following this case, right? Anyways, let's see. 11:31 at 10:40. Court is back in session. There's an immediate sidebar. Then the jury enters at 10:46. The defense. And here's the thing: even if it turns out where he's found not guilty, they're still stupid people because the evidence is absolutely overwhelming. Right? It just means that they got suckered in too by the trickery. And if Richard Allen is found not guilty in this case, there'll never be an arrest made in it because he is the killer. And that's sad. At 10:46, the defense calls Max Baker, who's an intern who works for the defense. I guess he gets along really well with Richard Allen. He's probably the one that visits him, according to Susan. He is a graduate of Indiana University and has worked on the case since November 2022. He tells the jury he heard Harsman's testimony. Reporter notes that at this point, Allen's wife, Kathy, leaves the courtroom with 3 others. I wonder why. Baker testified that he has reviewed most of Allen's phone calls and videos from Westville. He says he was asked to compile video of Allen at Westville and put it on a flash drive. The prosecution is continually objecting. Baker says the video was given to the prosecution as part of the discovery. He says there are 2 main video formats, camcorder video and security camera video. The camcorder video is video outside of Allen's cell, and the security video is inside. And by the way, why was Allen the only one acting just nuts like that? While there's other people that are on solitary. And don't you think it's weird that he started acting nuts after he confessed the first time? And then his wife hung up the phone and called his attorneys, and the very next day all this shit started happening? Doesn't anybody find that a little bit interesting, the timing of how he got crazy right after he confessed the first time? I do. And then I think even during those other times, he still was like, I want to confess. Can you let me do it, please? He explains that in the cell video on the flash drive is from 15th of every month from November 2022 to December 2023, aside from April to July 2023, where there is more video than just the 15th. The defense asks to admit the video. They also show spreadsheets that explain the videos by date and time the video was taken. The prosecution objects, and there's another sidebar. 11:31, the court is back in session. Defense intern Max Baker is back on the stand. The defense immediately requests a sidebar. The sidebar lasts 10 minutes before the jury is back in the courtroom. Baker tells the jury there is an issue with the security and camcorder videos of Allen because the prosecution provided them to the defense without the needed timestamps. Rosie says we are dealing with what we are given by the state. Judge Gold tells the jury that they will break for lunch. Alright, let me go up here. The defense has filed a motion today requesting an FBI special agent be allowed to testify remotely. They want Adam Poole, who is currently working in San Antonio, Texas, to testify. They say he is necessary witness for the defense and that his testimony will only take 30 minutes. Poole is currently the election crime coordinator for the FBI San Antonio. The defense says it is extremely difficult for Poole to appear in person given his current job responsibilities pertinent to the November 5th election. He was previously assigned to Indiana. That motion can be viewed below. And then testimony from defense witnesses. Court is back in session at 1:05 p.m. At 1:10 p.m. the defense called Brad Heath. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to play this with Snoop Dogg's voice. Here we go.
Court is back in session at 1:05 p.m. At 1:10 p.m. the defense called Brad Heath. Heath tells the jury he lives just outside Delphi and is 70 years old. He worked for Reliable Exterminators and retired 5 years.
Oh, cool. We don't need to do that one because we already did that. So I don't need to have him read it. Anyways, News 8, Kyla Russell reports that Delphi murder special judge Fran Gohl has ruled that no testimony about Odinism during the trial of the suspect Richard Allen. Woohoo! Thank you very much. Gohl again denied a renewed defense request to present testimony about Odinism, Norse paganism, and ritualistic killing. The judge also will not allow testimony about potential other suspects. Good. The judge's decision came after arguments in court late Friday afternoon. The defense team had asked for a ruling. I guess at one point they said, well, what are we supposed to do here then, Judge? I don't know, dipshit Brad. Because this is what you guys asked for. You tried to sell the world a bill of shit. And I don't mean to swear, but I do. I'm just so pissed off. It's almost mind-boggling. The Odin document that they put out was intended to sway society into believing something that just isn't true. Okay? False. Was there anybody else in here with oh yeah, so there was more than just but down here there was Heath, and then so this guy's important. At 1:28 p.m. the defense called David McCain. Now he's flannel shirt guy. All right? He's interesting. McCain tells the jury he went to the bridge. He's 79 years old. He actually, it says right here he's the volunteer and was a project manager for the Monon High Bridge Trail. So he'd just go out there all the time and stuff. McCain tells the jury he went to the bridge, and the guy on the bridge isn't 79 years old, all right? He's not Ron Logan. He's not this guy. He said he's walked the bridge many times and was out there just a month ago. McCain said he was on the trail and bridge on February 13, 2017. He said he got to the trails around 2 or 3, doesn't remember, and parked at the Mears entrance. It was I would say that it's very likely it was around 3, not 2, because he would be part of the moving around. And parked at the Mears entrance. He said he saw no other cars there and walked to the high bridge. He said he took photos and walked just the beginning of the bridge. Right, so he got out of his car. It takes about 6 to 7 minutes to walk from the parking area to the bridge. So, I mean, we still don't know exactly what time that would be. He said he saw no other cars there and walked to the high bridge. He said he took photos. So he's the guy that Cheyenne was talking about, that had a camera. And he walked just to the beginning of the bridge. McCain said the bridge is 65 feet above the water and you can see it clearly below. Right, you can see the water clearly below, except that day it was murky. share the actual diagnosis? I don't know. See, that's the thing about these note takers. I'm going to get the transcript of the trial. I don't care if it costs $5,000 or whatever the hell it is. And we're just going to probably have to start all over again and get every single word, because here's what the unfortunate thing about this case is, and even the people that are taking notes. We all appreciate everybody going in there taking notes, and really good notes and so forth for some people. But when they're listening to what's going on in there, if you don't have like a full knowledge of the case, you don't actually know that these little details are really important that are said, so you just kind of put the overall statement down. Yeah, he said he was near the bridge, and then, but maybe he said he stood next to the bridge, he looked down, he said, you know, there might be some other element, right? Like time frame, etc. And that's what's lacking here in a lot of stuff. People are not aware of these little minutia details that actually have a massive difference. And, you know, that's why it sucks. I wish I could have been there, you know. He tells the jury he used a camera, not a phone, to take photos. So yes, that's the person Cheyenne said was kind of an overweight guy with a camera. He said he did that for less than a half hour. Okay, so I would say he was there. I think he got to that bridge. I'm going to guess that he got there at about 2:45. So he probably got to the parking area at I'm going to say about 2:35. So that makes sense. You know, between 2 and 3. 2:35. He walks to the bridge. He gets there at 2:45. Then he turns around, because right when he gets back at 3:15, that's when he talks to Derek. All right, so let me see what it says in here. He tells the jury he used a camera, not a phone, to take photos that day. He said he did that for less than a half hour. McCain said he saw a couple while there. He said it could have been before or after he went to the bridge. He said there may have been people off in the distance that he saw, but only past the couple. So that's interesting, because when he saw the couple on the far end of the bridge, I think, well, heading that direction anyways, would be Cheyenne, perhaps. But it could also be, no, actually I think that's Cheyenne and her friend are making their way, because I remember at 3:15, that's when she takes the photograph of that, the first platform and the pylon holding the bridge up. So that's going to be Cheyenne and her friend that he saw, I think. Anyways, McCain said he left before 4 p.m. He said he was surprised at the number of people at the Mears entrance when he returned to his car. So he must have passed Derek and went to the Freedom Bridge and then came back himself. McCain tells the jury he did not see pedestrians on 300 North, so when he left at 4, he didn't see the muddy and bloody guy. He said, someone shouted to me, have you seen the girls? But he might have been too late. So if he got there at 4, he wouldn't see muddy and bloody guy. Because at 3:57, so if you look at it like this, Sarah Carbaugh drives by right here at 3:57, and then at, like, you know, probably 3:57 and some odd seconds, she's over here and sees the muddy and bloody guy. And then he sees there's a crowd here too, just like Sarah Carbaugh did, so he goes this direction. So when McCain comes out at 4, well, this guy's already way back here. He's leaving. He's not in the area anymore. So he wouldn't have seen him. Hey, thanks, Tina Humphrey. And he could have been there at 4:02 or 4:05, and then there's a big difference. I want to know if McCain's vehicle drove by the Hoosier Harvest Store. Then he'd have the exact time. Tina Humphrey says, thank you, Gray, for all your hard work and donations to such good causes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, my channel makes an income. I mean, you guys are, help support me and the channel, but I try to give away a ton of money. We've given away 40,000 plus this year. I think we're actually at, what are we at here? 41,000 even. So that's pretty good. I mean, if you can find me another YouTube channel that even remotely tries to do something like that, let me know. But he saw his sister that morning at his mom's house. He admitted. I don't know who you're talking about. No idea what that means. Let's see. McCain said he left before 4 p.m. He said he was surprised at the number of people at the Mears entrance when he returned to his car. McCain tells the jury he did not see pedestrians on 300 North, meaning they want him to say that he didn't see the flannel shirt guy, the bridge guy, but we don't know if he turned right or left. He said, someone shouted to me, "Have you seen the girls?" when he was leaving the entrance. But he should have remembered that he actually talked to Derek, because Derek talked to him right at the intersection at 3:15. He said that evening he was at a community meeting and some emergency people said they were investigating missing kids. McCain said he became concerned about the girls and called the sheriff's office to say he was there that day. McCain said 2 FBI agents and 1 ISP agent came to his house and interviewed him. He said he gave them the photos from his camera. I mean, man, how interesting are those photos? You know, I mean, my God. Those girls are already down the hill and across the creek, though, at that time. He said 2 or 3 years later, he was called and asked if he had seen certain car in the distance of his photos. Well, that's interesting. Oh, wow, yeah. So when he was taking the shots, is it possible he filmed a vehicle on the private drive? And if he was there earlier, he would have had to be at like 228. Oh, man, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah, jeez. And I guess that is possible. Like 228, or no, it would be like, no, 3. He did say he was there between 2 and 3. So if he was there at 228 at the bridge and happened to be filming over there, taking a picture, you might get the white van. I mean, that would be insane, wouldn't it? Thank you, Joseph Brennan. I'm trying to figure out what Brenda was talking about. He saw his sister that morning at his mom's house. He admitted to maybe he triggered something in him. Who? I mean, Richard Allen, when he was at his mom's house? I didn't hear anything like that in the testimony. See, that's the thing about the notes. We don't know what they're leaving out in the notes. Maybe it said that on... Somebody else picked it up on one of the other notes that somebody had. And you almost have to listen to every single person who took notes and hope that somebody catches something that somebody else missed. He said 2 or 3 years later he was called and asked if he'd seen a certain car in the distance of his photos. McCain said he never got his SIM card back. At 1 p.m., the state began their cross-examination. Prosecutor James Luttrell shows McCain a document of an FBI interview. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin objects, saying it is improper. Judge Gould allows McCain to look at the document. Luttrell asks him if he left at 4 p.m. or shortly after. He says yes. You see, when I was doing this a minute ago, you guys, what was I focusing on McCain? I was trying to see if he left later and wouldn't have seen the bridge guy, right? You see that? And that's exactly what they just did right here. Man, you guys don't know how lucky you are. I mean, look at that right there. That's hilarious. See, they knew that that was important. And he goes, or was it shortly after 4? He says yes. Boom. So that means he misses the bridge guy when he turns out. Because remember a minute ago when I was saying Sarah Carbaugh drives by at 3:57, so he would be cutting up this way around 3:57 because he would see that same group. And then McCain says he left at 4. And I was like, okay, if he left at 4, is he going that way? He's not going to see him, but they said it was a little after 4. You guys must have missed that. I know. It should have been a boom moment for me, you guys, because I was just saying that. You missed it, man. You missed it. McCain says the man shouting at him that day was a pretty large man in a bright orange jacket. That's probably Derek. He said something like, "Have you seen the girls?" in a concerned way. At 2:05 p.m., defense called former Delphi Fire Chief Darrell Sterrett, you don't have to put boom later, you guys. You didn't even hear what I said, so it didn't mean anything. At 2:05, the defense called the former Delphi fire chief, Daryl Sterrett. This is the 8th witness for the defense. Sterrett says he grew up in Delphi and graduated in 1985. He has been a firefighter for 36 years. He was the fire chief on February 13, 2017. Sterrett said he was at the station house around 6 that night. You did hear me, but were you listening? Haven't you been told that in school? I know you heard me. You know, this is when you know somebody they only heard you, they didn't listen. Is when they repeat back to you the last thing that their ears audibly remembered. So you could be reciting Moby Dick and at the very end said, fell into the water. And the entire time is the person's eyes are glazed over, and then they say, yeah, I was listening, you said fell into the water. Yeah, but what about the entire book I just read? Oh, I mean, he was just... Okay, forget it. Sterrett said he was at the station about 6 that night because there was a training event. He said that word came in that 2 girls were missing. He said he went to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office where Joint Command had been set up. Sterrett said they tried to figure out where they were and sent people to search for them. He tells the jury that they were directing search through dispatch and that Mullen and Lesaby were in charge of the search. Sterrett is shown a document that kept track of where the firefighters, cadets, and other officers were that day. He said they were an entirely volunteer department, but everyone was at the station that day because of the training event. Sterrett tells the jury they were notified about girls at 7:01 p.m. He said he left to go to Unified Command at 7:10 p.m. He says about 6 of the volunteer firefighters were at the bridge that night around 9:30 p.m. He took his personal vehicle, and the volunteer firefighters took 2 fire trucks. Sterrett said he entered the trails off of 625, that's the private drive, and drove to the end of it and parked. He said there were houses on the left. He said he parked in someone's yard. He said one vehicle drove up to the bridge, but others walked. Sterrett tells the jury that they needed to search to be boots on the ground. He said he thought the girls were scared and cold. It was not organized grid-type search, he said.
Only on the east side of Bit. Sterrett said he left the scene around 1:30 a.m. or 2 a.m. on February 14, 2017. Sterrett corrects himself and says he left at 2:30 a.m. on February 14. Sterrett said he ordered a search north, south, east, and west of the bridge. In a deposition, he said there may have been higher intensity lights from vehicles, but he is not sure. He says the night was very dark, that the firefighters were using department-issued flashlights, which had a spot or flood setting. He says someone may have shined a light on Deer Creek to check for the girls. Sterrett told the jury that nobody from his team saw anything floating in the creek and did not hear anyone shout out saying they saw anything. He said he could hear people during the search. The prosecution does not cross-examine. The jury asks 2 questions. How long ago did you give your deposition? Did you get a copy at that time? Sterrett replies that it was 3 weeks ago and it was mailed to him. Did you search the area southeast of the cemetery? He replied, I did not personally. Court is in recess at 2:55 p.m. 12:41.
All right. And I think that, yeah, and then this is the very end right here. This is where Judge Gould requests, she said that there's no witness going to be talked about. Thank God. That's not fair, everybody. They should be able to talk about aliens or oddness or whatever the hell they want. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. I'll be back on later, but I'm going to be on Court TV here in 23 minutes or so, or whatever the hell time they got me. So thanks, Sunshine Susie, Who Am, Cheryl Bullock, Nicole, Rebecca Hayes, Nicole, Sunshine Susie, CR, Brandon Collins, Nub Fisher, Shay, CR, Heather L, Pink Diamond, Whitebird, BB Sure, Karen, Eve Loves God, Tina Humphrey, Joseph Brennan, and Sunshine Susie. All right. I don't know, Cindy. Who cares? All right, everybody. Thank you very much. We will see you guys. I don't think he's done his testimony yet. It should be live, but they usually put it on YouTube where you can go to the YouTube video and follow along as every troll and their dog come into the comments section and attack me in every way they possibly can. Right? They don't give a shit. They always go, oh, the grifter, the this and that and the other, you know, every name under the sun. And they never mention to people that we give away a ton of money. Hold on a second. Yeah, that was Court TV. Okay, so anyways, I got to get going, you guys. So thank you. Chris Watts right there at the end. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a specter with a vector on his specter. With all respect, y'all. Just remember I've a temple fucking checked ya. I have
Thank you, Amanda Suge.
Pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right.
Okay, bye.